The Nonprofit Extortion Machine: How Taxpayer-Funded NGOs Target Independent Dissidents, by Independent Investigative Desk, June 2026. A dangerous trend is accelerating across the modern landscape of institutional advocacy: the transformation of taxpayer-subsidized nonprofits into corporate enforcement arms designed to financially strangle independent working-class citizens. When large, donor-funded non-governmental organizations, NGOs, weaponize their institutional weight to target a small business owner for holding dissenting viewpoints on children's medical transitions and parental rights, it moves past standard community advocacy. It enters the realm of systemic intimidation. A textbook execution of this playbook unfolded in Delaware, where a multi-organizational coalition launched a coordinated digital smear campaign against Anna Mae Swigert, a classical lesbian and the owner of Anna Mae Minerals in Lewis, Delaware. The anatomy of this targeted strike pulls back the curtain on a repeatable corporate playbook used to police local economies and enforce rigid ideological orthodoxy. 1. Following the money: the financial architecture of Sussex Pride. To understand how a regional advocacy group wields the power to dictate terms to independent commerce, one must look directly at its balance sheet. Far from being a loose, organic gathering of local volunteers, Sussex Pride Inc. operates as a highly structured 501c3, tax-exempt corporate entity. This status shields their revenue from federal taxation while providing a professional infrastructure to deploy aggressive public compliance campaigns. Led by Executive Director David Mariner, the organization is deeply integrated into academic, federal, and state-level financial pipelines. The CARES study subsidies, public registries, reveal that Sussex Pride functions as an operational node for the CARES study, creating access to resources and economic support. Funded as a clinical research initiative for transgender and non-binary (TGNB) individuals, this connection embeds the organization directly into broader academic and medical health grant networks. State Commission alignment: the organization maintains direct, fluid ties to government entities. This includes hosting state officials, such as Cora Castle, chair of the State of Delaware LGBTQ+ Commission, to align organizational advocacy directly with state-level legislative agendas. The lobbying pipeline: Mariner uses this tax-exempt nonprofit apparatus to give politicians the moral cover they need to pass controversial legislation, such as House Bill 375, which strips medical and court oversight from legal identity changes on birth certificates and driver's licenses. This financial and political insulation ensures that professional activists face zero economic risk when they choose to target self-made, everyday working citizens. 2. The anatomy of a coordinated smear campaign: the friction between this institutional machine and independent commerce culminated in a synchronized attack on Anna Mae Swigert. Having built an independent public platform under the moniker Patriot Anna, Swigert accumulated over 250,000 followers by openly speaking out against the hypersexualization of children, drag story hours for minors, and the rapid medicalization of youth. Because her perspective as a gay woman completely destroys the narrative that the LGBTQ+ community thinks as an ideological monolith, the nonprofit apparatus deployed its standard target playbook. Step 1. Digital surveillance and context manipulation. The Delaware Anti-Violence Project, DAVP, which operates as a direct program under the Sussex Pride corporate umbrella, began systematically archiving Swigert's personal social media content. Rather than engaging with her core arguments on child safety, DAVP compiled a highly edited supercut video designed to distort her rhetorical context. Satirical videos, political hyperbole, and defensive commentary regarding women's boundaries were clipped out of context. The nonprofit then published statements claiming she was inciting physical violence and threatening transgender people, deliberately reframing a defensive stance on child protection as an offensive public safety hazard. Step 2. The Tri-Coalition Media Blitz. To create the illusion of an overwhelming, unanimous community uproar, Mariner's network launched a synchronized multi-platform strike on Friday, May 18, 2026. Sussex Pride deployed the compilation video across its digital networks while coordinating a joint public condemnation alongside Speak Out Against Hate, SOAH, led by Patty Maloney, and Indivisible Southern Delaware, ISD, organized by Cheryl Siskin. By issuing identical, pre-planned press statements simultaneously, they forced local media outlets to run the smear as an urgent breaking news item without verifying the context of the raw footage. Step 3. Enforcing the financial blacklist. The ultimate objective of the campaign was not public dialogue, but total economic strangulation. The final phase of the nonprofit playbook moved directly into targeting her livelihood. Desiree Orillo, chair of the Delaware Anti-Violence Project, issued the official operational directive alongside the smear video, explicitly stating, "It is crucial that we support businesses that align with our values and boycott those that encourage violence. Avoid organizations where spiritual leaders actively encourage bigotry. The coalition pushed this messaging to regional pride directories, local landlords, and community vendors, attempting to use corporate intimidation to force anyone associated with Anime Minerals to sever business ties. 3. The irony of inclusivity and the fight ahead. The targeting of a self-made lesbian business owner by a highly compensated, lobster suit-wearing executive director like David Mariner exposes the absolute fraud of modern inclusivity. The moment an independent thinker refuses to play along with their script, the nonprofit apparatus drops the mask of anti-violence and unleashes targeted harassment. This conflict highlights the widening internal fracture over the direction of cultural advocacy. Decades of work toward a live and let live society, where individuals were accepted for who they were and left alone, have been hijacked by a donor-funded industry that demands total ideological conformity. The line is being drawn at the protection of children. Parents, small business owners, and traditional advocates are waking up to the reality that childhood innocence is being treated as a science experiment by political actors. Standing up against this institutional overreach isn't hate, it is a fundamental defense of truth, free speech, and the safety of the next generation. When everyday people refuse to be intimidated by out-of-context smear videos, and instead expose the financial and political motives operating behind the curtain, the power of the nonprofit industrial complex begins to break.